All right, we are back. I am David Wilson, Business Savage. Welcome to the Savvy Show pre-show with me. Welcome. Uh, Here on IBGR.network is where the show is housed. You are watching what goes on behind the scenes before the show starts. You are watching where you are watching live now. You will be able to watch me do the show live and in color for you. So, again, I am David Wilson. I go by the Business Savage. I also go by Savvy for short. And we're talking this season 7 of the show, about the Black history of business, how Black entrepreneurs changed the world, how Black businesses changed the world. And today's show is important. Today's show is vital because it will put everything in context. It'll put because we're going to be talking a lot about the theme of the show, how Black entrepreneurs change the world. But it's very important that we put that in context. So today's show, the Black Wall Street Massacre. For some of you, you already know what that is. You know when it happened. You know how it happened. We're going to go over the general concept of Black Wall Street. We're going to talk about the actual Black Wall Street. We're going to talk about some other Black Wall Streets, because there wasn't just one, right? There wasn't just one. And in our last segment, so what's your point? So I'll give you that, and I'll let that marinate with you. We also have to set the tone for what was going on before and during this massacre, the time of this massacre, which is also very important. We're going to be diving into some subjects that a lot of people don't like talking about, because it makes them uncomfortable. It makes them feel bad, and that doesn't matter, because it doesn't mean it's not true. And it's important to put all of these puzzle pieces together, because we have a bad habit in this country. Of talking about what we see out of context. So we'll look at a guy who's sleeping on a park bench, and we'll say, "Oh, what a bum." That's not in context. Perhaps that same guy sleeping on a park bench was burned out of his home 2 nights ago. Maybe that guy that was sleeping on the park bench, his car broke down, and he's not from here, and he couldn't afford a hotel. He couldn't do. I mean, there's so many different reasons for things. So, but we don't care about that. We care about what's happening right before us. So we look at the state of certain things, the state and we're very critical about that. Very critical. 12 minutes. No, 10 minutes. 10 minutes to live. 10 minutes to live. We're very critical about certain things, and we don't understand them. So one of the goals of this show is to, and I'll end up saying it on the show because it's on my show notes, it's on my show cards, is to raise the veil of ignorance. And this is going to help help us do this. There's now the Black Wall Street Massacre, understanding this, learning about it, knowing what this is important for all people. So it's important for my melanated people. It's important for my non-melanated people. That's very, very important because, and we'll get, this is why it matters. Okay. This is what the point is. All right. Before we move on, yes, it is true. My in-studio engineer is on time in the building, ready to go. In-studio engineer, welcome. Steve Namin, you feel me? Steve? Yep, it's true. He's been with me since day one, and happy to have him with me moving forward. All right, got something free for you before we move on. 9 minutes to live. It's a free app. It's a free app called Get Upside. Some of you may have it. Some of you may not have it. But I am giving it to you for free. I'm going to put that in the chat. So all you have to do is click on that link, and by downloading the Get Upside app to your phone, your favorite mobile device, you save 15 cents or even more on every gallon of gas you use, which is crazy. And gas is expensive. It's going up. And why not use this free resource that I'm giving to you? Just click on that link, download the app, and you can save money. Simple, right? You can save money. All you have to do is drive to the gas station. You do what's called a check-in. You save money on a gallon of gas on your fill up, and you can take that money. That money accumulates. So you can cash it out, you can PayPal it out, you can use it for gift cards and such. So it's great resource for me, and I just want to share it with you. So go ahead and click on that link and get your Get Upside app today. 8 minutes to live. All right. Make sure I love comments. So let me know in the comments if I'm sounding good. Let me know in the comments. Give me some emojis. Give me some emotes if you're on Twitch. And if you like what I'm saying, let me know. If you don't like what I'm saying, well, I mean, I prefer you not to say anything, but you probably will. It's happened in the past. And just remember, never heckle the guy with the mic. Never. It's a bad idea. I'm serious. All right. Show cards. Show cards are here. So you all remember the movie You Can't Handle the Truth. Gee whiz. The movie A Few Good Men. So rest in peace to my college roommate. Richie Barglowski. So which is very interesting. I'll tell that story some other time. But it's interesting that I bring him up during this show. Our contrast is similar to what we're going to be talking about, but that's another story. So my friend Richie Barglowski and I used to watch A Few Good Men, and almost knew it by heart. And that part where Tom Cruise is questioning Jack Nicholson, and I just found this out today. So you want answers? I think I'm entitled to them. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth, right? So that's in our post here, where you're watching. You can't handle the truth wasn't in the script. Now I'm not sure what was in the script, but he ad-libbed that. So that was a freestyle, and he came up with that on the fly, and it has become like this iconic, incredible, memorable statement, exclamation. So I just wanted to share that with you. That thrills you. Okay, right. 5 minutes to live. All right, let's do a couple sound checks right quick. He said right quick. Lighting is good. Seems like it could be a little brighter. All right. Let's do sound check, Steve. All right. I'm going to go to Avatar, and then we'll come right back. While I'm gone, you can go ahead and click on that link or put something in the comments and let me know that you can at least hear me. That would be great. Yeah, that's it. All right. Hold on. All right. Here we go, Steve. What? Did you hear that? That was great. Excellent. Thank you. We are back. I am, oh goodness, 4 minutes to live? Yeah. All right. So we got to get ready because our timings are different. I hope, let me know how you guys enjoyed the replay show from last week, because that show meant something to me. But it was very talking about, it was apropos to this season, the servant entrepreneur. So that was a very popular episode. Pen is stuck. There we go. All right, got a lot of stuff to cover. 4 minutes to live. Got a lot of stuff to cover today. Got a lot of material for this show, so I'm excited about it. And we will be going live. We will be going live in 3.5 minutes. 3.5 minutes. Okay, good. All right. Also, put in the chat while we're wrapping up here on the pre-show. Put in the chat where you are located, where you're listening from today. Shout out, by the way, to all the platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. So, absolutely. And I try my best every week not to get kicked off of any of them. So, let's see how it goes. Today might be the day. I don't know. So let me know. Oh boy. All right. All right, guys, here we go. 2 minutes live. 2 minutes live. All checks are done. We're gonna go to Avatar. Thank you for jumping on. Thank you for watching. We are going live on ibgr.network. For those of you who would like to go listen there, you can /David. You can go right to that website that I just put in the chat. If you want to stay here, you can certainly do that. So I'm going to Avatar. 1 minute and 30 seconds to live. 1 minute and counting. 90 seconds to live. We'll see you. Let's have a good show. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you in about a minute. All right, Steve, last checks. Lighting's good. Hydration. Did you get me water? Yes, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Cue the music. 1 minute to live. Did you see this picture of me? This picture is old. We might show that later. I was like 20. $30 seconds to live. 30 seconds to live. Here we go. Last checks are done. 20 seconds. Let's have a good one. Let's have a good show. It's Savvy Day. And we're here to change the world. Are you ready? Then say my name. Savvy. Ooh, let's go. Welcome to the Savvy Show. I am David Wilson, the Business Savage here on IBGR.network, Profit Radio by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. No matter what stage of business you are in, from pre-startup to startup to growth to hockey stick growth to really, really, really big growth to perfect progression, slow and steady, nice and easy. Wow, this business is going well. To, yes, retirement. I want to cash out. I want to sell this thing. And I don't know, what would I do? How about we just buy a ferret this time? Just have a pet ferret and just keep them around for no reason. No matter what stage of business you're in, come grow with us. Yes. Hey, come grow with us. All right. We got a lot to cover on today's show. We're talking about the Black Wall Street Massacre in season 7 of the Savvy Show. How black entrepreneurs change the world. Now, so why is this show so important? This show is going to be vitally important because it's necessary to understand what was going on. So let's say you don't know what the Black Wall Street Massacre is yet, right? Okay, so you're going to find out about that. You're going to find out what the climate was like for Black businesses and Black entrepreneurs in we'll just say we'll just call it post-emancipation, post-Civil War. We're going to find out and that progression so it all funnel down into making sense. But it's going to require some very, very, it's going to require discomfort. And I am not concerned with anyone being uncomfortable with what I'm saying. I am, because it's true. And that's it. So everything we're talking about today is true. When we get to the end, it'll all make sense. The fourth, the last part of the show, it will all make sense because there's a takeaway here for everyone. There's a goal here for everyone. The unified goal is to raise the veil of ignorance. Raise the veil of ignorance. That's a theme. All right. Before we go any further, I want to thank all of our listeners, first-time viewers, first time to the Savvy Show. Welcome. And of course, our returning listeners and viewers, welcome back. That's always great. It's been a while since I said this, but just to remind you, if we didn't have the viewers and listeners out there, we'd be doing a show with no viewers and no listeners. So, thank you so much. I'm serious. Okay, so here's the climate. And here's the harsh reality. So I'm going to set the tone for what was going on in the late, we'll just say I guess the late 1800s, early 1900s, when the massacre occurred. So first and foremost, understand what the foundation was, and the foundation of, and we're broadcasting live all over the world. This particular show is going to be focused on the U.S. just because that's where Black Wall Street happened, and we're going to pull in international folks later on in the season. But understand that it all starts here at the Constitution of the United States. And I'm painting this picture for you so you understand what was going on. The Constitution of the United States made it crystal clear that no enslaved African, no melanated person would ever do anything at all in this country with freedom. Period. That's true. That's true. So understand that these from laws. So that was that was the first law, right? So that was the first law of the land. Enslaved Africans were never intended to be anything here. Now, some here we go. Here we go with all that. Well, you know what? So you can turn this off, and you can remain ignorant, or you can listen, and maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you'll learn something, because what I just said was true. What I just said was true. It may urinate on your norm and what you knew to be true, but that doesn't mean it's not true. I'm telling you the truth. And when we get to the end of all this, we're all going to sing Kumbaya, holding hands as we remove the veil of ignorance. No, that's probably not going to happen. All right. So understand that, and I told this story in the first show this season. So laws. So the laws were designed for us not to succeed. Education was denied. So we couldn't be educated. There's jobs we could not get. We could not work. We were not allowed to work. We couldn't vote. Okay. Some places we couldn't get married. Did you know? Fun fact. In the Commonwealth of Virginia, up until I believe about, it was probably like 1940, 1950, it was illegal. It was illegal. And you can fact check this. So I may have my years wrong, but this is true. All right. It was illegal to not only have life insurance as a Black person, but also to sell life insurance to a Black person. Oh, Savvy, what is it? Why just say? I want to hear the History Channel. I want to. Well, again, pay attention, because this is all related. Why does that matter? Because that's how we start businesses is with generational wealth. So next time, maybe when you say, "Oh yeah, my grandfather," blah 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 blah. Okay, consider that. This is all part of this episode. Consider that. All right. So it used to be illegal. So something as simple as life insurance that people take for granted, that was illegal. It was illegal to own property. Did I say getting married? In some places, it was illegal to get married. So everything, factually, this is not an opinion. Everything was written against the newly freed enslaved Africans. Now, spare me with but what about, okay, there were exceptions. We're not talking about success. We're talking about the foundation. So we're setting the tone for what the foundation was then. That's all we're doing. Okay? And it's always so marvelously convenient, laughably convenient when we hear, it was so long ago. Well, da, da, da. Well, the story of a brother named Vertus Wellborn Hardiman was when he was 5 years old. 5 years old, he was exposed to high levels of radiation as an experiment. Black kids, see what happened. Give it a try. Right. That was Chris Rock funny, by the way. Okay, it's one of those things. Again, so if you watch the show, if you listen to the show, it's like damn, that's what's up. It's that. Okay, just so you know, there's a difference. So it's like telling him, as a 60-year-old man whose brain has now been ravaged, and because of all this radiation, his body is deformed, and because of this experiment, that, oh, why are you still talking about that? Happened so long ago. Understand that what we see today is a product of what happened then, and we must come to grips with that if we're going to heal. So when we come back, when we go into our next segment, so all of this is coming down on newly freed, enslaved Africans in the United States. So what happened? So people wouldn't sell to Black people. People would not hire Black people. People would not treat Black people. People would not do so. We're going to find out in our next piece what happened. Because remember, there's a story. So the history of our people in this country is we have a tendency to figure it out. We have a tendency to figure it out. So in the next segment, we are going to figure it out. And I'll show you what happened. Before we go, if you are a business owner and you have an operating business, it's been in business 6 months or more, and you have revenue, and you need more short-term capital to run your business, to expand, to purchase a competitor, to make payroll, we can help at Fund You Up. So go to Fund You Up, funduup.com. That's www.funduup.com. Click on the button at the red button in the top right corner, says Get Pre-Qualified Now. And you'll be right on your way to getting the funds you need to grow your business at Fund You Up. All right. When you come back, we'll dive into the pivot in Savvy. All right. There we go. Good set. All right. Yes, thank you for all the comments. I appreciate it. You're jumping in. That was good. That felt good. Steve, good job there. Managed not to break anything, so that's cool. Got a good word from downtown that we're sounding good. All right. So now we're gonna dive into the pivot. And we're gonna start talking about now Black Wall Street. What Black Wall Street? I'll give you, since you're watching, right? And you have like hidden secret information that nobody else has. 1 minute to live. We're gonna talk about. So there's a real Black Wall Street. It's an actual Black Wall Street. And then we're going to talk about it as a term. And, it's very relevant, in fact, to, and I didn't mention this, the capital of the South, Richmond, Virginia, USA, because there was a Black Wall Street here in Richmond. We're going to talk about that next segment when we come back. 20 seconds to live. 20 seconds to live. 20 seconds to live. 19. Here we go. Ten seconds. Welcome back to the Savvy Show. I am David Wilson, the Business Savage, here on IBGR.network. We are broadcasting live from the capital of the South, Richmond, Virginia, USA. That'll be very, very relevant in just a moment. It's going to be very relevant in just a moment. We are talking today about the Black Wall Street Massacre in the context of how the Black history of business. It's very important to understand all this stuff in context. So when we're looking at later on in the season, these magnificently historically successful business owners and entrepreneurs, this is we need to know where they came from. We need to know where they came from. Hold on to that. Hold on to that. That's coming up. And I'll thank you for that comment. I'll show that comment when it comes time to. All right. So we talked about the pivot. So we began to realize quickly that the rules were against us, right? They were playing. They were set up that way. So instead of saying, "Oh, we're playing a game," so we adjusted and we made it happen. And what we did is we decided that there was more power in numbers. So we as people got together and started to form all over the country. Now, a lot of people don't know this. They started to form all over the country these cities, these Black cities. So all the people would get together and live there. Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened. And just like with any community, what started to happen, now we're getting into the business side of this, right? When this started to happen, I was going to say Steve. I'm going to use it better. So Joe realized they needed a doctor in the community. So maybe they have to go find a doctor, bring him or her into the community. So they need a doctor. Okay, well, what are we going to eat? Okay, this side on this part of the community, we're gonna have our garden. We're gonna have our community garden, and we're gonna bring in cobblers. We have, hey, what do you do? Oh yeah, I'm a cobbler. Cool. We don't have to bring in a cobbler, so we have somebody that can make shoes. We have somebody who can cook very well. Open a restaurant, open up a grocery store, and all this was going on in these Black communities. So no problem. If the US doesn't want to sell to us, if the US doesn't want to fix our shoes, doesn't want to treat us for rabbit fever or whatever else was going on back then. That was a thing. I learned that in Mr. Cordo's class. But we'll bring someone else in. We'll do that ourselves. We'll do that ourselves. There's a term. It's a little economics fact for you. So the turn of a dollar in a community. In that time, the dollar that was spent in those Black communities wasn't coming out of the Black community. It was staying in the Black community. Now, why is that important? Because the Black community was building up. This is what was going on. Okay, this is what's happening. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, well, I don't see anything wrong with that. You're probably not thinking that. But you could be. You could be thinking, oh, I don't see anything wrong with that. Other folks do that all the time, right? But remember what the foundation was. The foundation wasn't writing anyone off the way they wrote the newly freed. And at the time it was written, they weren't free, the enslaved African off. So you can smoke that any kind of way you want to smoke it. It doesn't make it less true. Now stay with me, because I'm taking you on this journey. I'm trying to teach you something. I'm trying to educate the world on how this whole thing started and how this whole thing works. Okay, so pay attention. Pay attention. So now everything's going well. Black people are prospering. Black people are, now it's cool. You would think nobody would mess with them. All right, we don't want them around anyway. No problem. So go off to places like Boley, Oklahoma. Go off to places like Tulsa, Oklahoma. Go off to places like Oscarville, Georgia. And we'll set you set up your cities. Cool. Everybody wins. That is, until it worked too well. Right. So when it started to work too well, white America got mad. And they were like, this has to stop. There he goes. There he goes. Boy, I was wrong about him. But no. I'm just your history teacher for the day. I'm your history teacher for the day. So that's cool, but that's what it was. That's what it was. Now, but pay attention. Follow me. All right. So in all these places, and I got where's my sheet here? Oh yeah. Okay. So in all of these places, black people were doing well, and systematically, governments, people. Sometimes it was government legislation. Sometimes it was like in Jackson Ward section of Richmond, also known as the Harlem of the South, as Anoint pointed out. Indeed, that is true. So let me back up. So Jackson, two. If you're from there, 2 Street. So I learned that. So I speak the language of the people. 2 Street, the Harlem of the South. No, Harlem. Like I said, Oscarville, Georgia, Boley, Oklahoma. All these places. Tulsa, Oklahoma. These were all, now the term Black Wall Street is coming up. So these are places where Black people, these cities where Black people thrived, because they went there, and now we started our schools. So we were educating ourselves, we were building ourselves, we were selling to ourselves, and that's what happened. Until, again, systematically, these cities started to disappear. Now you might be saying, well, how can a whole city disappear? That makes no sense. Well, prepare to lift the veil. So, show of hands, how many people out there like to go on vacation? How many people like to swim, maybe, or boats? How many people have ever been to Lake Lanier, Georgia? Okay, yeah, Lake Lanier. I love Lake Lanier. Well, let me tell you about Lake Lanier. If you were paying attention earlier, I mentioned a city called Oscarville, Georgia. Oscarville, Georgia is under Lake Lanier. Now, you might be saying, how is that even possible? Oscarville was destroyed. Oscarville was destroyed by white America. They ran there was one of these black cities, and they ran all the black people out, and they killed them under the guise, and it's always something like, oh, this was some black kid did something to a white person, and they made it up, and then they just destroyed all the people. I'm reading now. Yeah, so this was 1912 that this happened. 1912. And, oh, that could never happen. No, it does happen. In fact, I'll go one step further. Maybe some of you haven't heard of Lake Lanier. I know most of you have never heard of Oscarville, Georgia. What about York Hill? What about Seneca Village? You ever heard of those? No? Yes? No? York Hill and Seneca Village were in New York. And we talk about the system. Pay attention. You talk about the system. These were black neighborhoods in New York City that were systematically, the black people were run out of there, and the cities were just plowed through. Why did that happen? So next time you are lying on your back in the soft grass, listening to your favorite classical artist in Central Park, New York, you are atop York Hill and Seneca Village. Imagine that. Now, again, saying, why are you bringing all this up? Because we're going to get into Black Wall Street. So there was an actual Black Wall Street. So all these were Black Wall Streets, but the actual Black Wall Street, and this will all make sense to you by the time we are done. So you need to pay attention, stick with me, and resist the urge to stay ignorant. I mean, honestly, resist it. This is such a gift that I'm giving you right now. If you just pay attention to what's going on and stop feeling something, unless you're feeling some sort of rage as to why did this happen, which I can understand that. But this is going somewhere. All right. So when we come back, we're going to talk about the real Black Wall Street. Savvy. They gonna hate me now. They gonna kick me off. They gonna hate me. Okay, that's not fun. That's not fun. Don't even say that. Don't even say that. Don't even say that. It's crazy. All right. Oh, 1 minute and 30 seconds to live. Okay, great. Thanks for being with me. We're now going to talk about the real Wall Street, which is in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Greenwood section of Tulsa. Let me get my notes here. So, yeah, what are you going to do, right? I told you it was going to be. I mean, look, this is what it is, man. This is what it is. So the only way we're going to move forward is if we understand what is really going on and what really happened. You don't get to like it. I'm not asking you to like it. In fact, I'm hoping that you're disgusted by it if you didn't know about this. But don't say that just because you don't feel good about this happening, this being done by Santa Claus, that don't tell me it's not true. Oh, well, that can't be true. Santa Claus would never do that. It's like that feeling you get when you find out, the tooth fairy ain't real, or you find out Santa Claus ain't real, or you find out it's like, wait, we don't even have no chimney. It's like that. Okay, 15 seconds to live. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Here we go. Welcome back to the Savvy Show. I am David Wilson, the Business Savage, here on IBGR.Network Profit Radio, talking about this season the Black history of business. The only way we can do that is to start at the beginning. That's the only way we can do it. None of the stuff we're going to talk about this season will make any sense if you don't understand the context in which it occurred. And that is what we are doing today. For some of you, this is a very uncomfortable subject. This is very uncomfortable. Think about how uncomfortable it would have been, though, for someone to kick down your door and burn your house down later today. Chris Rock funny. Chris Rock funny. You're getting it. You're catching up. Okay, so we talked about the concept of Black Wall Street. So the concept of, and real quick, we talked very briefly about Jackson Ward, or as they say, Jackson Wide, as they call it, the Wide. It's true. Later, so Madam C.J. Walker was born in the Ward. She wasn't born there, but she did her work in the Ward. Okay, she did her work in the Ward, and we're going to talk about her later. So now, armed with this information, later on in the season, when Madam C.J. Walker comes up, now you have the whole picture. You don't just have, a Black lady started a company and she was greatly successful and she started a bank and that is now lofts where the building was. And it's not that. It becomes more impactful. And that's the whole story. And that's for everyone. You see. All right. So the real Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. There's a reason this happened. There's another reason this happened this way, and it's very interesting. I think it's ironic. So let me just tell you about the real Black Wall Street, the Greenwood section of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Same thing happened. So just like all the other cities we talked about, just like Never Sink, New York, real city. You look all this stuff up. I'm educating you right now. If you've never heard of this stuff and you, for whatever reason, don't believe me, go look it up yourself. But this is the veil. The veil is coming. You see it? You see it? Up. The veil is coming up. I promise you. I'm serious. Now, Black Wall Street, Tulsa. You'll hear people call Black Wall Street. You hear people call Tulsa. You hear people call Greenwood. So if you ever hear somebody say Greenwood, that's what they're talking about. About 10,000 Black folks there around 1900. So that's where they started to populate and do exactly what they were doing in other parts of the land, which is setting up shops, setting up building homes. Cobbler was out there, the saddler was out there for the horses, blacksmith for the horseshoes. All of that stuff was self-contained. It was self-contained in the neighborhood and thriving. So no one wanted for anything. There was a great sense of community there. Everyone was making money. No one was hungry. No one was people helped each other and whatnot. So everything was going well. And they didn't like it, just like they didn't like it in other cities. They say this all started. Well, I shouldn't say it that way. The reason I said that was because this was the massacre. Okay. The reason I said they say it all started on May 31st, 21, May 31st, 21, was because it was happening before that. So it didn't start that day. It wasn't like that day. It was like, so what you want to do? Let's get rid of Greenwood. That's not how it happened. That's not how it happened. Chris Rock funny. So over a period of time leading up to that date, this was a system. So this was a conglomeration of and a conspiracy. There were planes, there were weapons, and it was a militia. It was a militia of white folks who came through and in collaboration with police, there were people recruited, there were people called in from outside, there were people. Oh man, sounds familiar. What the hell? That sounds familiar. Dave Chappelle funny. Sounds familiar. And the rock that started it all, the dropped rock that started it all, that started the ripple in the pond, was a false, fake sexual assault accusation. Members of the Ku Klux Klan, members of citizens from other places, they came in and they just started tearing stuff up. They killed Black people. They ran those they did not kill. They ran out. They torched the businesses. They torched the houses, and they stole money, land, and resources. That's what happened. That's what happened. They threatened people and Black people, and they forced them out of their homes. That's the Black Wall Street Massacre, very, very, very much in a nutshell. Now, you may say, well, why would someone do that other than for pure hatred? Well, there was an economic reason. So aside from stealing all of people's stuff, there was oil out there, people. There was oil out there, and so greed. The irony: what will we do? What won't we do for oil? Interesting, but I digress. So this is what happens. So now, well, what was left over? Well, the land didn't go anywhere, right? So, the white people ran the town. You know, they were. Whenever you hear talk then, especially of seceding from the Union and making a separate town, separate money. The only Texas can get away with doing that on a regular basis, right? I did say that, but that's what was going on. So when you hear the term Black settlement, you hear that it's not. Wait a second. I mean, we don't want you to be that successful. I know what you're saying. You're right. You caught on to that one all by yourself. So most people don't know about this. The reason many more know than don't is because, yes, that is correct. Only 101 years ago that happened. 101. There is at least one woman still living who has been speaking about this massacre and what she remembers, which is so vitally and critically important because we don't want those stories to die with her. It is important. Now, every single one of those businesses that were ravaged, that were pillaged, that were burned, were Black businesses. Every single one of them. We're not talking about businesses that went under. We're talking about businesses that were both, and depending on the situation, the scenario, that were both systemically and or physically destroyed. Systemically or physically destroyed. Hang on one second. I got to get this this note here. No, I said that. Right. So Never Sink New York. Yeah, Never Sink New York is underwater as well. So all these hidden underwater these are Black cities, and on top of it, the Bittersweet Reservoir. How do you like that? Now, why is this important? Well, if you know the show, we get to this segment, and it's coming up in about a minute. Real quick, just want to throw something out there to all of the business owners who are listening. If you have an operating business, it's been in business for 6 months or more, and you need some short-term capital to purchase a competitor, to expand, to make payroll, what have you, and you need it in 24 to 48 hours or so, come to Fund You Up. Just go to www.fundyouup.com. That's www.f as in Frank, U, N as in Nancy, D as in David, like me, U, P as in Peter.com. Click on the red box in the upper right-hand corner that says Get Pre-Qualified Now, and you will be right on your way, well on your way, to getting the funds you need to help your business thrive. Because we want to fund you up. There we go. Okay. All right. We're going to wrap this up when we come back from the break. I promised you a funnel that this will all make sense. I promised you if you followed me and stayed with me and came into this listening and paying attention, this will all make sense. It's going to make sense when we come back, just like I said it will. You are listening to David Wilson, Business Savage, on the Savvy Show here on the IBGR Network. To see you when we come back from the break. Savvy. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun being here with you on IBGR. Today is my last. Hey, man, look, I am simply telling the truth. That is what I'm doing. I am simply telling the truth. Oh, no, that's one. Okay, cool. Yes, 1 minute to live. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being with me today. Let me know what you think of the show. Let me know if you have anything to add. Let me know where you're listening from. I appreciate the comments. The veil's coming up, folks. The veil is coming up. It has to. For any change to occur, for any healing to occur, it has to come up, and it's coming up today. 45 seconds to live. All right, let's finish this up strong. Alrighty. 30 seconds to live. Here we go. Thank you, by the way. If I didn't say that already, thank you so much for being here with me. 19 seconds to live. It warms my heart that you keep coming back every week, and we are going to change the world. So here we go. Welcome back to the Savage Show. I am David Wilson, the Business Savage, here on IBGR.network, Profit Radio, the Black history of business. We are talking about the Black Wall Street Massacre and how it has affected Black entrepreneurship, Black business. Like I've been saying, it's very important. We are in context. We must be in context. So it's one thing to talk about the success of John Johnson. It's another thing to focus on, to understand how and why he was able to be successful. And we must, this is in context. So we've given you what was going on in the country at the time. And listen, I am not here to paint you a pretty picture. That is not my job. I am here to paint you a truthful picture so that you understand what's really going on. And the funnel is coming, and this will all make sense. So great, Savvy, awesome, good job. Steve is great, and all of that. What's the point? What's the point of telling? What's the takeaway? Who cares? All right. Well, who should care about what I just told you is everyone. Everyone should care about that. Because the information I just gave you should shed some different light on your view on things. There may be Black business owners out there who had never heard of that before. So we all at some point, most of us, I venture to say, we're not there. So at some point, this was new information to all of us, whether it was new information today or it was new information 10 years ago. It's new information, right? Nonetheless. So my white friends, this might be new information to you too. And there's takeaways for both sides. There's takeaways for both sides. Now, I hate to be so binary about it, but just stay with me. Give me grace, because I know where I'm going. Just walk with me and take my hand, and we'll get there together. Okay. The main takeaway. So there's been a lot, as you know, there's been a lot going on in this country. There's been a lot going on in this world that has been very, very negative, very hateful, very disparaging. And the only way we are going to be better is to learn. We must learn. You must learn. You must learn. And that's directed to everyone. We have to understand where we came from so we can understand where we're going. All right. So in the midst of all the stuff that's been going on, and just to call the pink elephant out, it's a tremendous racial divide. And it's important to understand what was going on then. It's important to understand what's going on now. So here's where we begin. I think I'm hopeful to heal. Now watch. It's important to raise that veil. So if all you got from today was an enlightenment to something you didn't know, I didn't know any of that ever happened. That's okay if you didn't know. That's okay if you didn't know. But now that you know, if you unknow it, you are now complicit. You are now complicit if you unknow that. So it's imperative we use that information for good, and the good is a savvy shift, perhaps. So shifting of your perspective, changing of the narrative, and it's true. This stuff happened. It happened. So now use it for good. Use it for good. And I'm right now I'm talking to my ally friends out there. Use it for good. This is so I used to get that question during what can I do to help? How can I make a difference? How can I be part of the solution? How can raise the veil? Okay. Learn, care, and call your folks out. So when they're saying something that's jacked up. So when they say something that's jacked up, call them on it. So that's how you can help. The next piece is something that I was fortunate enough to not have to learn when coming up as a child, preteen, teen, young adult. And I was fortunate enough, I said this is part of my origin story. I remember I had growing up, we had a black air conditioner guy, Mr. Williams. We had a black Mr. Fashion, a black guy that sold suits. Carl was my tailor. Mr. Farris was our plumber. And these were, so I was fortunate to be exposed to black-owned businesses my whole life. Like my whole life, barbershops, hair stylists, all of that. And the message, the message, and even for me, thinking back, learning this. So I learned about this not as an 18-year-old. So I learned about this stuff much further into adulthood. But this is the message that I want to send to our budding, as we move through the season, our budding Black entrepreneurs, our Black business people. And it's this. You walked with me. You heard everything I told you. Everything I said was true. We talked about laws being written against us, legislation, city councils who were eager to volunteer interstates to be placed in Black communities, maybe even Jackson Ward. I don't know. Look it up. "100 years ago, businesses torn down, businesses burned down, people killed. for doing nothing, for doing well is why this happened. And constantly trying to figure it out over and over and over again, with the pressure of what seems insurmountable odds. And despite all of that, we're still here. We are still here. You are still here. So there are challenges every day. Know what kind of cloth you were cut from. Know who came before you. Know your history. Know who came before you. So yes, we see, and we'll talk about this. We see Damon. Okay, we see Jay-Z. We see Black Enterprise. We see Versus. We see all of this stuff now. That's visible. But know like you know. These ancestors, your business ancestors are walking with you. They're with you always. They will get you through tough times. They will get you to where you belong. And they will lead you to success if we allow them. Ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, we're in this together. And we'll make it. The only way we're going to make it is if we make it together. So that's the takeaway. See, I told you, if you just let me walk you there, that's the takeaway. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to The Savvy Show. If you go to www.thebusinesssavage.com, www.thebusinesssavage.com, you can subscribe to the podcast. And thank you very much for being with me. I'm David Wilson, Savage. All right, folks. Thank you. All right. There it is. Ship it. Thanks for riding with me. I enjoyed that. I think it was, I'm hopeful it was liberating. It was great for me. But, yeah, I don't know about others, but I guess we'll find out. And that's it. So tune in next week, same time. We'll at least be here. No, I suspect we'll still be here. But so 2:45 pre-show right here on IBGR. We will also be live for the show 3 p.m. on ibgr.network. And that is it. So I think that went well. And that's it. All right. I'm worn out. That show wore me out. So I need to go change my level. So I'm going to lie down on my back and decompress. So thank you very much, folks, for being with me here on the Savvy Show. See you next time. Thank you.